Hello. Okay, so we are going to be reading Hamlet today. We're going to be finishing the play. So excited. So the last thing we had read was where Ophelia seemed to be struggling and Hamlet seems to be on his way to England and Polonius is dead, hence Ophelia's struggling and singing crazily, which was really creepy. So now we are in Act 4, Scene 6, and we're actually going to read Scenes 6 and 7 before I stop the video, okay? So this is the end of Act 4, and so we're going to go ahead and begin listening. If you have your book, we're on page 221, and if not, of course, you want to go to shakespeare.folger.edu and then get to Act 4, Scene 6. Okay.
What are they that would speak with me? Seafaring men, sir. They say they have letters for you.
Let them come in. I do not know from what part of the world I should be greeted, if not from Lord Hamlet.
God bless you, sir.
Let him bless thee too.
He shall, sir, and it please him. There's a letter for you, sir. It came from the ambassador that was bound for England. If your name be Horatio, as I am led to know it is.
Horatio, when thou shalt have overlooked this, give these fellows some means to the king. They have letters for him. Ere we were 2 days old at sea, a pirate of very warlike appointment gave us chase. Finding ourselves too slow of sail, we put on a compelled valor, and in the grapple I boarded them. On the instant they got clear of our ship, so I alone became their prisoner. They have dealt with me like thieves of mercy, but they knew what they did. I am to do a good turn for them. Let the king have the letters I have sent, and repair thou to me with as much speed as thou wouldst fly death. I have words to speak in thine ear will make thee dumb. Yet are they much too light for the bore of the matter. These good fellows will bring thee where I am. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern hold their course for England. Of them I have much to tell thee. Farewell, he that thou knowest thine, Hamlet. Come, I will give you way for these your letters, and do it the speedier that you may direct me to him from whom you brought them.
Sweet tunes. Okay, so basically, Hamlet's, he was on the way to England with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and then we know that there was, they had a letter that was supposed to tell the person who opened the letter to kill Hamlet. That was from King Claudius. So, uh-oh. But look, they were taken by pirates. That's weird. And so now Hamlet is back in Denmark on his way back to, his castle. And he's going to catch Horatio in a bit. He's going to, bring him up to speed on what's going on with Guildenstern and Rosencrantz. They're still en route to England. So, well, things change. Now, you might be saying, pirates? We needed a way to get Prince Hamlet back in Denmark. So, what's easier than pirates? Or maybe like a shipwreck or something. Shakespeare uses those occasionally, too. So, a lot of times just a plot device to get people where he wants them. I mean, you gotta do something whenever you just have like a stage and you've got to get people from point A to point B. All right. Okay, so now we will go ahead and listen to Act 4, Scene 7.
Now must your conscience my acquittance seal, and you must put me, now must your conscience my acquittance seal, and you...
Oops. Okay, let me tell us a little bit about this scene, just so we have a little bit of heads up on what's going on. So Claudius gets a letter from Hamlet announcing that he's back in Denmark. Claudius is going to be grumpy about that because he had the plan for him to go to England and get killed. So this is inconvenient. Well, Claudius is going to plot with Laertes. Remember, Laertes is probably going to want Hamlet to die because Hamlet did what? Oh yeah, he killed Polonius, Laertes' daddy. So Claudius is going to find a way to get Laertes' help to get what he wants done. Interesting.
You must put me in your heart for friend, sith you have heard, and with a knowing ear, that he, which hath your noble father slain, pursued my life. It well appears, but tell me, why you proceeded not against these feats, so criminal and so capital in nature, as by your safety, greatness, wisdom, all things else you mainly were stirred up. Oh.
He wants to know why did Claudius not arrest Hamlet for killing his dad? If you also agree with me that this was wrong, why didn't you arrest Hamlet when he did that? Let's hear what Claudius has to say.
Oh, for two special reasons. which may to you perhaps seem much unsinewed, but yet to me they're strong. The queen, his mother, lives almost by his looks, and for myself, my virtue or my plague, be it either which, she is so conjunctive to my life and soul that as the star moves not but in his sphere, I could not but by her. The other motive, why to a public count I might not go, is the great love the general gender bear him, who dipping all his faults in their affection, work like the spring that turneth wood to stone, convert his gyves to graces, so that my arrows, too slightly timbered for so loud a wind, would have reverted to my bow again, but not where I have aimed them.
And so have I a noble father lost, a sister driven into desperate terms, whose worth, if praises may go back again, stood challenger on mount of all the age for her perfections. But my revenge will come.
Break not your sleeps for that. You must not think that we are made of stuff so flat and dull that we can let our beard be shook with danger and think it pastime. You shortly shall hear more. I loved your father, and we love ourselves, and that, I hope, will teach you to imagine. Now, what news?
Messenger.
Letters, my lord, from Hamlet. These to your majesty, this to the queen.
From Hamlet? Who brought them?
Sailors, my lord, they say. I saw them not. They were given me by Claudio. He received them of him that brought them.
Laertes, you shall hear them. Leave us. High and mighty, you shall know that I am set naked on your kingdom. Tomorrow shall I beg leave to see your kingly eyes, when I shall, first asking your pardon, thereunto recount the occasion of my sudden and more strange return. Hamlet, what should this mean? Are all the rest come back, or is it some abuse and no such thing?
Know you the hand?
It is Hamlet's character. Naked. And in a postscript here, he says, alone. Can you advise me?
I am lost in it, my lord. But let him come. It warms the very sickness in my heart that I shall live and tell him to his teeth, thus didst thou.
If it be so, Laertes, as how should it be so? How otherwise? Will you be ruled by me?
Aye, my lord, so you will not o'errule me to a peace.
To thine own peace. If he be now returned as checking at his voyage, and that he means no more to undertake it, I will work him to an exploit now ripe in my device, under the which he shall not choose but fall. And for his death, no wind of blame shall breathe, but even his mother shall uncharge the practice and call it accident.
My lord, I will be ruled. The rather if you could devise it so that I might be the organ.
It falls right. You have been talked of since your travel much, and that in Hamlet's hearing, for a quality wherein they say you shine. Your sum of parts did not together pluck such envy from him as did that one, and that, in my regard, of the unworthiest siege.
What part is that, my lord?
A very ribbon in the cap of youth, yet needful too, for youth no less becomes the light and careless livery that it wears than settled age his sables and his weeds, importing health and graveness. 2 months since, here was a gentleman of Normandy. I have seen myself, and served against the French, and they can well on horseback, but this gallant had witchcraft in't. He grew unto his seat, and to such wondrous doing brought his horse, as had he been encorpsed and demi-natured with the brave beast. So far he topped my thought that I, in forgery of shapes and tricks, come short of what he did.
A Norman, was't?
A Norman?
Upon my life, Lamord.
The very same.
I know him well. He is the brooch indeed and gem of all the nation.
He made confession of you, and gave you such a masterly report for art and exercise in your defense, and for your rapier most especial, that he cried out, "'Twould be a sight indeed if one could match you." The scrimers of their nation, he swore, had neither motion, guard, nor eye, if you opposed them. Sir, this report of his did Hamlet so envenom with his envy that he could nothing do but wish and beg your sudden coming o'er to play with you. Now out of this...
What out of this, my lord?
Laertes, was your father dear to you? Or are you like the painting of a sorrow, a face without a heart?
Why ask you this?
Not that I think you did not love your father, but that I know love is begun by time, and that I see, in passages of proof, time qualifies the spark and fire of it. There lives within the very flame of love a kind of wick or snuff that will abate it. And nothing is at a like goodness still, for goodness, growing to a pleurisy, dies in his own too much. That we would do, we should do, when we would. For this would changes and hath abatements and delays as many as there are tongues, are hands, are accidents. And then this should is like a spendthrift sigh that hurts by easing. But to the quick of the ulcer, Hamlet comes back. What would you undertake to show yourself indeed your father's son, more than in words?
To cut his throat at the church.
No place indeed should murder sanctuarize.
Okay, so let's talk for a second. So Laertes is evidently pretty legit whenever it comes to sword fighting. He's really impressive. That was the whole situation where they were describing that Norman guy and how really great Laertes is with his blade. And so Hamlet, upon hearing of how great he was like really jealous, because evidently he's not necessarily as good with the sword. And so the king is like, if you want to get revenge on Hamlet, why don't you have a sword fight? Why don't we create like a duel situation with Hamlet?
Revenge should have no bounds. But good Laertes, will you do this? Keep close within your chamber. Hamlet returned shall know you are come home. Will put on those shall praise your excellence, and set a double varnish on the fame the Frenchman gave you. Bring you, in fine, together, and wager on your heads. He, being remiss, most generous, and free from all contriving, will not peruse the foils, so that with ease, or with a little shuffling, you may choose a sword unbaited, and in a pass of practice requite him for your father.
I will do it. And for that purpose I'll anoint my sword. I bought an unction of a mountebank so mortal that but dip a knife in it, where it draws blood. No cataplasm so rare, collected from all simples that have virtue under the moon, can save the thing from death that is but scratched withal. I'll touch my point with this contagion, that if I gall him slightly, it may be death.
Let's further think of this.
Okay, so let's talk for just a second. Hi, Daisy. How are you? Are you coming to help? Oh my gosh, that's so great. I mean, like a lot of times, like you need some help whenever we're talking about Hamlet, right? And Daisy is here. She is here for you, the student. She cares. I love that about her. Look at her. Yep. Okay, so Laertes wants to fight. He's like, yeah, let's have a fight with Hamlet. That's a great idea. And the king says, well, what you can do is you can use a blade that isn't blunted. So whenever they had a duel, a lot of times they would use rapiers or swords, like those really pointy, fancy swords. They would use them with like blunt tips, so they wouldn't actually draw blood. And so he's suggesting that he uses a real sword, like he uses an actual pointy sword that's going to inflict a wound. That's a good idea. And then Laertes comes back at him and says, as a matter of fact, I bought a poison because I've been thinking this through. And I feel like the best idea is to have some poison and to poison Hamlet with the blade. So once I injure him, whenever I injure him, if I have poison on the tip and that poison gets in his bloodstream, he'll be gone in seconds. Absolutely, for sure. And of course, King Claudius is going to think this is a fine idea. Here, trying to get where we can see Daisy while she continues to help with teaching. Isn't she good? She's so good. Okay.
Weigh what convenience both of time and means may fit us to our shape. If this should fail, and that our drift look through our bad performance, 'twere better not assayed. Therefore, This project should have a back or second that might hold if this did blast in proof. Soft, let me see. We'll make a solemn wager on your cunnings. A hat. When in your motion you are hot and dry, as make your bouts more violent to that end, and that he calls for drink, I'll have prepared him a chalice for the nonce, whereon but sipping, if he by chance escape your venom stuck, our purpose may hold there. But stay, what noise?
So the king says, well, yeah, but let's not leave everything to chance. They're already using a pointy blade. They're already using poison on the pointy blade. And now he says, you know what? I'm going to also have like a cup of wine. And when you guys are right in the thick of the battle and you're getting super hot and sweaty, you're going to be like, ooh, I could really use a drink. I'm going to be like, here, Prince Hamlet, you can have a glass of wine from me. And then it's going to have poison in it. So then for sure he'll die. So 1, we're using a real blade. 2, poison on the blade. 3, poison in the cup. We're going to kill him. Somehow or some way, this is happening for sure. And then they hear a noise.
One woe
Oh, the
doth
queen.
tread upon another's heel, so fast they follow. Your sister's drowned, Laertes.
Oh.
Drowned? Oh. Where?
There is a willow, grows askant the brook, that shows his hoar leaves in the glassy stream. Therewith fantastic garlands did she make of crowflowers, nettles, daisies, and long purples that liberal shepherds give a grosser name, but our cold maids do dead men's fingers call them. There, on the pendant boughs, her coronet weeds clamoring to hang, an envious sliver broke, when down her weedy trophies and herself fell in the weeping brook. Her clothes spread wide and mermaid-like, a while they bore her up, which time she chanted snatches of old lauds, as one incapable of her own distress, or like a creature native and endued unto that element. But long it could not be, till that her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay to muddy death.
Alas, then she is drowned.
Drowned.
Forgive my facial expressions. I keep looking at the kitty, but this is a very sad scene. So we have this image of Ophelia. Ophelia is probably one of the, like, she's a big image from this play. So a lot of times you'll see pictures of Ophelia, and she's like laying in water, and she has like, you know, like the daisy row on her, like the daisy crown on her head, and she has flowers all around her, and we just have this really grotesquely tragic image of this young woman who has taken her life because of her sadness. And she went insane over her dad dying and losing Hamlet and all the different things that have happened in her life, the traumas. And so that's a really stunning image that people always remember from this play, is the death of Ophelia. So really sad, just tragic. She drowned.
Too much of water hast thou, poor Ophelia, and therefore I forbid my tears. But yet, it is our trick. Nature her custom holds. Let shame say what it will. When these are gone, the woman will be out. Adieu, my lord. I have a speech of fire that fain would blaze, but that this folly drowns it.
Let's follow, Gertrude. How much I had to do to calm his rage. Now fear I this will give it start again. Therefore, let's follow.
Okay, so Laertes, finding out about his sister's death, is enraged again and he leaves. And the king just kind of talked him down off the ledge of rage by giving him this stunning plan of how to kill Hamlet. So now he's worried like he's going to go crazy again and mess something up. So he's following him out of there. Okay, that ends Act 4. And the next act, we have 2 scenes and it's the end of the play. So I'll see you in a little bit.